Welcome back to Blocc Party, where we dive into the untold stories of Insecure. I'm Issa Rae.
And I'm Prentice Penny, and this episode is sponsored by Gatorade Lower Sugar, and we'll be diving into season 1, episode 7, Real AF.
My favorite episode of the season, and it is written by none other than you, your brilliance. And it is an explosive
It's
episode.
a lot going on in this one.
Oh my gosh. Everything comes to a head in the best way.
Yeah.
And we have a special guest joining us today.
And I'm glad we do, because there's a lot to unpack, and that special guest we have is Miss
Yvonne Orji. You know, Molly has been on a losing streak. So I hope that maybe Yvonne has a different perspective, but we'll find out.
I'm certainly sure she has a different perspective.
We'll be right back with Yvonne Orji, y'all.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. We talk about mental health more openly now, but asking for help can still feel hard, and BetterHelp's latest research confirms it. BetterHelp's 2026 State of Stigma report surveyed 2,000 Americans and revealed that 85% of Americans believe getting support is wise, yet 74% say society discourages people from doing so. By now, y'all probably know that I'm no stranger to talking about mental health. I've been around enough people who think handling everything alone is just what you do, that somehow just talking about what's actually going on with you is a weakness. I know that's especially so for the other men in my life. We're often praised and rewarded for being the strong and silent types. And I get it. I understand where that comes from. But I also know that nobody has all the answers by themselves. Not the most put together person in the room, not you, not me. That's where BetterHelp comes in. It's the world's largest online therapy platform. Over 30,000 licensed therapists, more than 6 million people served, and a 4.9 out of 5 average rating from over 1.7 million real client reviews. You fill out a short questionnaire, they match you with a fully licensed therapist, and if it's not clicking, you can switch. No explanation needed. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, stuck, or even insecure about how to move forward, just know that it's more common than we let on. And now is as good a time as any to check in with yourself and really ask, do I have someone in my corner? You deserve that. We all do. Don't let stigma stand in the way of support. Start therapy with BetterHelp. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/insecure. That's betterhelp.com/insecure. Now back to the party.
We have Emmy-nominated actress, producer, comedian, multi-talented author, Yvonne Orji today. Let's go.
What up?
I don't know how the young people do it.
Yeah, the young people do it.
Are you gangbanging?
I got carpal tunnel.
On the dead homies.
This song's dedicated. Hi, babe. You're my new publicist.
But we are here today talking about episode
7.
7.
Real AF.
What was your memory of it?
You know what I had to do when I got home, right? Because we shot the fight scene last.
Oh.
It took me back to 8th grade when I was bullied. So I was definitely like, I'm not even mad at her. She gave me a job. I had to watch 3 episodes of Veep to just calm down. I didn't know, like, this was also before therapy, so my nervous system was just activated. It was like sense memory of like everybody I wanted to beat up in middle school. And then I was just like, I need to laugh. And
Oh my gosh.
3 episodes of Veep.
It was interesting to watch it again, because I was watching it again last night.
Yeah.
And it's also the first time that we see you guys have an issue since the first episode, right?
Yeah.
And it's so visceral and heavy and real that I remember watching it and being like, oh, I don't want them to be like, even though, you know what I mean? But it's like hard watching them after everything that they've been doing the first season. I was like, ooh, this is dark.
It was hard.
So I have the memory of shooting it, which was just like having fun with this is the first episode we shot with the entire cast. So that was really fun. And then rewatching it, I was like, damn, Yvonne you were so locked in. Like once you had the attitude, once you got mad, like seeing you in that zone was like, my girl doing her thing. Like she was acting down, because I don't remember that on the set. And I felt like you stayed in it a little bit sometimes.
That's why I had to go and release it. Well, because you know what it was? The episode was so ping-pongy. Yeah. It was like, girl, I'm trying to tell you something. Well, you might need to do it. And I was like, well, hold on, what the hell? And then the whole Daniel stuff. So it was like, I gotta look out for my girl one more damn time. And then it was like, oh, now you know what? It was like pent up everything she had been holding in.
Yeah, for sure, that entire season. But that's what also makes it my favorite episode, just the range of, obviously, things that are going on between the characters and the emotions. And it felt like we were really kind of in our drama bag. And even...
Yeah, for sure.
Like the first 4 episodes end on a on a comedic note, and the
Mhm.
last 4 episodes of the season all end on a dramatic note is what I've noticed. But for that in particular, like what I love is even in Molly's anger, she was still like, we're just locked in. And it reminds me of those friends where it's like, I'm mad at you, or even sibling love, where it's like, I don't fuck with you right now, but I'm not gonna let nobody else fuck with you.
Yep.
You know?
Right.
It was when we clocked that. It was like clocking Daniel, clocking you, like, let me put this damn ticker. But I'm not gonna hold you. I was watching this because we had already just watched Nemesis, and when Ilana and Jay, I was like, nigga, this was an Inception story. This was his villain.
That's what we said. I said this nigga rolled up in a trench coat like he in Nemesis and all black. I said he came to cause a problem.
Cause think about it. After this, he went and did was it The Purge? And then I said we created. This was Ilan's villain Inception story.
I love it.
And you're welcome, Ilan.
All Issa just saying that she need to scratch. And he was like, okay, I'll show you. I'm about to scratch all this shit.
When I heard that line, I said, God, who wants to hear that?
Kind of vibe.
It's
She's trying to get him up out of here, because why are you in this space?
It's also a lot of savage lines in this, which I definitely want to talk about, which is the most savage. There's a lot of savage lines in here. One, it was fun because it was written like a play. Like all the who sees what, the sort of like in the doors, out of the doors, and all that type of stuff. Well, we have a lot of fun things to get into this episode.
Yes.
Obviously, we got y'all fundraiser, it's the culmination of that. And there's also like so much fun, these little side shots of like Kitty drunk on stage. And, like, there's just like fun little like vignettes in the show. Obviously, we have Issa and Molly having the big fallout, as we're talking about. Daniel and Lawrence meet, as we're talking about, and obviously by the end of the episode is the chickens come home to roost.
Everything
with Lawrence finding out Issa cheated.
It's a man sitting like this waiting for his girl. Just
in the dark. Like
just with his thoughts.
Like, how long were you sitting there? Because I know I was talking to Joanne for about like hour.
She gave me the bottle.
Like, woo! You never turn the lights on. Did you go to the bathroom? Like,
I also feel that's how life is. Life is always like, are you a little too happy?
Mm-hmm.
We got
literally my favorite. What is it? Short and fried is. Are you mad because I can actually keep a nigga? Then I don't have a nigga. Like, just kidding. Oh, before we break down episode 7, you know, you originated the Molly character. 10 years later, people have a lot of opinions about Molly.
They do.
Is there anything that you want to get off your chest about her?
No, Molly, she's a complicated character. And I think complicated characters, we hadn't seen a lot of them, and especially as Black women. Yeah. So when we saw them, it was kind of like, she's a mirror for a lot of people who at that time hadn't got to therapy. And so, yeah, she was great. Thank you so much. So
you stand by, okay, politician. So do you stand by all of Molly's decisions? Are there any parts of Molly that you saw in yourself that you tapped into? Like, I guess talk about who you drew from to play her.
Well, here's the thing. There were a couple of times where I'm like, I don't know a character like Molly. And then there were a couple of times I'm like, oh, damn, I think I am her. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, how do I be better than her? You know? So we kind of like metamorphosized into one. In the beginning, I was like, oh, I'm playing a role. Yeah. And then it was like, I had become the role. And I was like, can we grow? I remember, yeah. But I still feel like Molly is and was a good friend. Yeah. I think that just like every human being, she had to evolve. Yeah. And with more information, I mean, it took some time. Because who wants to look at themselves in the mirror and be like, God dang, parts of me are not great. Yeah. No one like, yeah. And also without the judgment. Because I think the reality is, I think some of us could look at ourselves and say, parts of me aren't great, but then what does that mean? Yeah. And I think that's also what we find out in this episode is like, well, if you say I need therapy, like, does that mean I'm a bad person? Is everything, and we always go to extremes. So Molly was definitely an extreme character, and I think Yvonne was also that too. It's like black and white. Yeah. I grew up in a Nigerian household. Everything's like, are you good or are you bad? Mm-hmm. It's like, there's no gray. But I think I drew from the fact that like I lived by a cul-de-sac, you know, like in Laura, Maryland. Mm-hmm. So I know suburbia. But then I'm a Black woman in America, so it's like you got to be able to like fit in. Yeah. So when I even read the breakdowns, like dark-skinned Black woman who works in corporate America that knows how to switch from like corporate to hood, I was like, I'm signing up. I know her. I am her. Like I've been waiting all of my life. I've been waiting all my life.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, we've heard Issa's side of how she met you. What's your side of how you met Issa and felt about auditioning for the role?
I know it well. It was pop it, baby.
Pop this to come up and
like pop that. So it was 2011. I was in LA doing an internship for a show called Love That Girl.
Let's go, Love That Girl.
Yeah, you have to say Bentley and Stacey. And so I really, again, all of this was new to me. I was doing stand-up in New York, so the whole Hollywood was new. And they were like, oh my God, are you up on this like web series? I had no idea what they were talking about. I had no idea what it was. And so I went home and I like devoured every episode that was available. I mean, unlike you, Prentice.
Yeah, I had never seen it.
Never, ever
I had never seen it.
You're writing 4-page. You writing 4-page letters. I want to be on your show, girl.
Although I had never seen it.
I think you're great. Wait, can she act? Ah, damn. I'm locked in.
This is like a real marriage. You're like using my words against me. I definitely don't like.
Hey, but you
married
made it.
to a real Molly, because we'll talk about that later too.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Which is why I love your wife. I love your wife.
Yeah, she's great.
You're supposed to say she loves you too, but it's okay. Don't worry about
She
it.
does love you.
I know. So I watched every episode and I was like, yo, this is great. And I think I started following you on Twitter that day. Then I moved to LA in 2012. And I remember just like keeping up with your life. And then I think season 2 was coming out. And I said, hey girl, hey, I just want you to know like I'm here. Like you're killing the game. And back then, and actually still now, I think I just treat people like I'm cool, you're cool. We should be cool together.
Yeah, you
like
do.
I didn't know Hollywood. I didn't know if like
first of all, I wasn't in Hollywood either.
well, you had produced something. As far as I was concerned, you were Hollywood.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you had made something, people were buzzing. And again, this was in the era before like we had social media like we did now. Anyway, I was just like, we should be friends. And I think at one point you were like, hey, I'm having what was then Wine Downs. And I'll never forget, I didn't have a car. So I had to bring somebody, like a friend who could drive. So I was like, I don't know where Inglewood is. And I was like, I don't know where I was.
First of all, I lived in Mid-City at the time. It looked like parts of Inglewood where I lived at, but I lived in Mid-City.
It was over the 10. It was wherever it was. It was not West Hollywood, where I was at. So I've always been bougie. Even when I was broke, I was like, West Hollywood looks great.
Yeah, you and Jay were literally neighbors.
We were.
Crazy.
So anyway, they drove. And I remember then, because I didn't know your friends, I remember like it was a crew. Jerome was like, so how y'all two know each other? Like he was like, I don't like this, no new friends. What is going on? Like he was like, who is this hoe? It was him stopping and being like, so what is this?
We had a couple like new people there, so he's out of pocket for that. But
it was just the way he stopped and looked and was like, we don't know if we like this yet. And I was like so green and so like happy to be around blacks.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, we met each other on Twitter and she just invited me here. And you were like,
I felt like I was like, oh my God, you follow me? I've been following you since 2008.
No, I think I found that out at your place.
Okay.
Because when he was like, how do you meet? And I said Twitter, and you were like, I'm not an Indian. I have been following you and I think you're funny. And the whole time I'm like, she thinks I'm funny? She's following me. Oh my God.
So you just showed up because a stranger asked
have you met? I'm a Sagittarius, baby. We live for the adventure. Okay.
Yes,
it's gonna be a story to tell.
I love it. And it paid off. Because look at us.
Look at us. Look at us. I'll drink to that. Yeah.
Cheers. We'll definitely drink that.
Cheers.
We'll definitely drink.
Do talk to strangers. Do talk.
So when she asked you to come audition, did you think it was like a real thing? Like, what was your thought in terms of reading it and preparing for that?
I remember, it was a really hard time in my life. Like 2014 into 2015. Yeah. I was like, hey man, God, you can keep these dreams. I'm good on this.
Well, you were doing First Gen, and I was also scared, like, oh, she's about to have her own show, and I really,
Well, First Gen was like my last ditch effort. It was like, if this doesn't work, you all can have this place. I'll go back to where we have seasons. Like I didn't really care. First Gen was just like me working like to fundraise. Like, I was doing all the things. And I remember it was December and I had a conversation with my really good friend Esther, and I was like, man, I just feel so forgotten. Everybody talking about something like, we're not worried about you. You're gonna make. Worry about me. I'm hungry. Yeah. Worry about me. Like I just remember people like, no, you good. And I think at that point in my life, I thought having talent and being good was enough.
Yeah.
And then you come here and you're like, it's not enough at all. And you sent me like an email and I thought it was, I don't know what I thought. I was like, is it spam? What the heck is, and it was like, hey girl, between me and you, this is coming, but just wanted you to take a look at it. And I remember, I think I just started crying because I was just like, wait, I just was talking about how forgotten I felt.
Oh, wow.
And you just sent me an email like, it's not official yet. So I was carrying the whole winter break. I was like, oh my God, what does this mean? So I'm like looking for like, when does an audition happen? Like I've never been part of this kind of process before. So then I was just like, well, I guess it was just a really good script to read. I don't know what to do with this. So I just kept doing first gen. And then my roommate from New York, like months later, was like, you should audition for this. And it was Insecure. And I hit you up and I was like, girl, your show's really happening. Like, congratulations. Yeah. And I also wasn't like reading Deadline every day. Right. Like I was like, what are trades? Yeah. And you were like, did you still want to audition for this? And I said, oh, wait, why would I not want to audition for this? And she was like, because you do your show. And I said, and remember, I had been like, you know what, God, I'm canceling everything that's not me, everything that's not of you. Like, I'm just going to do my own thing. So when you were like, I thought you just wanted to do your thing. I said, oh no, F my thing. My thing has not been bought or sold or what. Hey, Oprah, thank you so much for believing in me, pero yeah. And so and I remember you were like, so who submits you? And I said, that's a great question. I'll be right back. I had no agent. I had no manager. So I'm calling my friend. I was like, can you hip pocket? What is a hip pocket? I'm just like, how can I get submitted? If I know now, I would have just created a fake email address and just submitted myself. Save that commission. Because I was like, so you just sent an email and checked my avail. Why am I paying you 10%?
That's such a great story.
I had no idea about that part, but that's
like you literally amazing. Just even.
If it was December, then I had just gotten the green light on the script.
Yeah, like, you literally just finished the script, and I remember just being like, if nothing else, this just goes to show me that people I don't even know are thinking about me. And that was it. Like if that was the only reason, but then I was so glad that I did first gen because in my mind, first gen became like my actual audition tape. Because we had to prove, because y'all were like, who the hell? I remember everyone being like, you're new, Issa. Why do we want to put you with someone else who is new?
But that was the thing. I didn't tell them. And I also told you, like, there are no guarantees.
For
like,
sure.
I have there are other voices on here. And so it was like your own sound that rose you to the top, which is how it should be.
And it's also a good reminder of like, what's for you is for you.
Yeah,
real shit. Day, right? Because I remember when you first came, because she was like, Issa's good at, and we know this is, I think, one of your best gifts is like, if you're like, I think somebody's talented. Like I'm gonna give them a shot. Like my girl does this, my friend does this. I met a friend. I met somebody who I think could be a cool whatever. Because I kind of submitted a line the same way. I was like, hey, work with him on the same way. And I remember when you came in, and I was like, she was just so funny. Like I was like, I thought she was the funniest Molly we saw. And I was like, if she can do any of the other things that we need her to do, she's gonna be great.
It works. We were all trying to put our people on, but like the talent spoke for itself, which is
the thing that about you that has stayed for the entire time of me knowing you is you don't show no cards. I had literally, it was the test. It's over. There's no more auditions left. Issa literally passed me on the way to the elevator. It was like, all right, girl, well, have a good weekend. Mind you, they had already decided it was me. I just didn't know. She was like,
I didn't think it was my place. It's a teamwork. It's a team.
I don't know this agent that was going to come and tell me I booked. They think, I know you. I don't want to hear from you. So literally, she put the...
That is hilarious.
She pushed the button on that. She's like, oh, you here? Okay, well, bye. And I'll tell you, I walked to the parking lot crying. I was like, Issa would have at least gave me a wink. She would have given me that.
Sorry,
she said, oh, okay.
That was after the test.
That was after the test. It was Vicky that told me. And I said...
That is hilarious.
Yeah. I was sitting in the HBO lobby like, never let him see you sweat. Never let him see you sweat. Just make it to the car.
That's amazing.
Nigerian strong.
I know.
So obviously the scene starts where Issa and Molly are shopping for a dress in the store. What do you remember about filming? Like, what do you remember about filming that scene where she's trying on the dresses and you guys are talking about relationship stuff? What do you remember about that?
I think one thing I do remember just in terms of like your directing and just being on set was just like playing to the nuance. So when that scene, so you got titties on your back? just like keep it real small, Yvonne. So you got titties?
Like, literally, your expressions, like without the words, of just kind of like, my friend is the worst. So my friend is an idiot.
It's like, no, it's cool. One of us is a lawyer.
Yeah. Dumb. But yeah, I remember shooting. First of all, another reason why this is my favorite episode is because we got to shoot in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
And that scene was shot like in a store that I had never been in on close down the street on Overhill. Yeah,
Actually across the street from Somerville.
Oh, from Somerville, yeah.
Look at you now.
But hey, let's go. Yeah. But no, I remember like even in that was we had shot 8 episodes by then. I think 7 episodes by then. Obviously, this is episode 7, and I feel like our friendship also grew as our characters' friendship grew, and it was so interesting to have like the fight scene when I felt so locked into you, but. I'm curious your perspective.
Yeah, and just to add to that, we talked about a lot in episode 2 how filming the line scene felt a little clunky sometimes as the first episode, as the first scene of shooting the season, and seeing the chemistry by even the end of that episode or the end of that first season. What was it? How would you guys interact? Even like once you rehearsed it, would you guys sort of play with certain things, or how did you guys? Because the chemistry obviously is great.
So then, by the time we got on set, I think my energy was. I just want to protect Issa. Like, it was really, for me, because I was like, this seems like a lot. And she's wearing all the hats. Yeah. I think so in the scenes, I was more like, are you good? Are you okay? Like, are you fine? Like, just making sure you're okay. And then it was just like, okay, then she's okay. Let me do my thing. So maybe that's why in the beginning it was clunky. And then towards the end, we got a chance to just like trust each other. Like,
well, 100%. But you still remain my protector throughout. Every single time I'd like mutter like, damn, I'm hungry. Do we have a banana? Do we have like, yeah, I was just speaking out loud, but thanks, girl. Like,
no, I ain't playing. I was like, no, nobody play about Miss Issa. No, because it was just because I did not realize how awkward Issa really is. Like, it was the pilot, and I came in like, I do jokes for a living, and he's just like,
we say introverted. Thank you very much.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, I love this elevation, this growth. Have you been to therapy?
Once.
You should watch
one time. Which honestly, even thinking about like in this episode, one of the big things is Issa recommending therapy for Molly after they run into their old friend Crystal. That it's obviously different now. Like you said, today, if you're not in therapy, people would laugh at you. But back then, it was still like it was taboo, especially in Black communities.
It was a luxury thing. You had to have money to go.
And hence why I had never been in therapy at the time. I was just like, I can't afford therapy right now. It's also a lot of literally.
Dear Lord.
No one in my family has gone to therapy unless there was something very wrong.
And also Black people took like trauma as a badge of honor. Like you ain't been through what I've been through. It's like, you weren't supposed to go through that.
You weren't supposed to go through that.
Did you relate more to Molly talking about that, or were you a little more involved like a Crystal in that moment? Or
I think when I watched it again yesterday, the first initial thoughts were, why didn't nobody put lip gloss on my lip? That's just really, I was very upset.
Who's looking out for Molly?
This is why she needed to go to therapy. Who will cry out for the little girl? I was like, so nobody saw it? It was like twice. I was like.
For the record, I don't know what you're talking about. But I've been there where I'm like, nobody said anything. Nobody stepped up. Continuity. Script supervisor, y'all couldn't tell me nothing.
It didn't even have to be Fenty. Vaseline, bro. It just was looking like caca. I was like, Matt is not for everything. So that was my initial thoughts. But no, I think it was Molly got tea. And it's like, let me tell you, Issa, look at this hoe talking about something. She's feeling her. Like because we were all there together.
And we're laughing at her together.
And it was judgment free because we were all in the same thing. Yeah. And now with her enlightenedness and awareness, it's like, so what you trying to say about us? I think I was kind of like on Crystal, but maybe more Crystal, because I was also like a goodie. Like, this is my first show that introduced me to so much. So I was like, yes, enlightenment. I have books about how to be better. Like I'm still a self-help.
Were you writing Bamboozled by Jesus at that point? Okay.
No.
Okay.
But like, I think the inner workings were probably there. So I was just like, I don't understand why is this a problem? Yeah. Like, she's doing better. She's making herself a better version of herself, and not saying that the best version was bad, but I think Molly internalized that as, if you're happier in this version, then what does that say about me? Because I'm kind of
I'm still there.
Here.
Yeah. And I was better than you. I was doing better than you.
I wasn't fucking a janitor for
exactly.
Damn.
So, but I might be in a couple of years. So,
but we talk a lot of stuff about mental health in this show, and I don't think we maybe even realized how much that would play parts in subsequent seasons. Like and I forget, because I mean, a few writers in our room were in therapy, were going to therapy, and so we were like, oh, we never see that on camera, certainly for us, right? And certainly for a certain age as well, right? So I think that was really I don't say groundbreaking, but certainly new that I hadn't seen that for us, right? And I don't think we realized, like later with season 2 and then with Nathan. So once we did that storyline, did you think we would delve more into this area?
I didn't. I mean, because even Nathan and that whole storyline came from like a real experience that I had, but that developed into something that I didn't anticipate would have therapy as a through line. Because again, like you write what you know, and I didn't know that life. So all of the therapy storylines definitely came from the active therapy participants in our writer's room for sure. And I think for the better, because you've been so examined as a person and so self-reflective, it really helps to kind of get into character psyches in a really interesting way, especially since they had been psychologically diagnosed to a degree, you know?
But I will say, as I was watching the episode, I could totally see Yvonne back then handling the situation like Molly.
Being upset?
Like, if she was passive aggressive before she was upset, right? So if you watch, most of the stuff, it was just like, no, okay, it's cool.
Yeah.
And that was, before therapy, that was literally me. That was like, okay, no, it's cool. You're dead to me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know you.
Yeah. But you're also not Molly was actively shitting on shit. Like, talk about the air. Like, dang. Like Issa could control that for her fundraiser. Like,
the pollen.
The DJ spinning whack ass drakes.
Ugly ass men everywhere. Like, damn, it's a fundraiser.
I thought there would be at least some rich black men out here.
So, when it comes to work, like Lawrence, obviously, he lands a new job, and Issa's preparing for the big fundraiser, which we obviously filmed in View Park, which is where you and I have grown up. Of course, we see Molly showing up early to help her out, clowning therapy.
Like a good friend.
Like a good friend. Yvonne, so you call DC and Nigeria home, obviously. What was it like to work on a show so deeply ingrained in LA culture? And were you able to pull, just from your own experiences, like, oh, this feels like my version of that?
I'll never forget the pilot where Issa was so, like, hell-bent on, no, we're shooting this. So it was probably like the last scene of the pilot. And they were like, we're already here. We can cheap Panorama City or something like that for, and she was like, that's not the show. And I just saw someone be so, this is the show I'm trying to make. And if I do nothing else, I remember you, like, the music is going to look good and South of the 10 is going to look amazing.
Yeah.
And so then seeing the show, and even now watching it with new eyes, all the other shows that say they film in LA, and you're like, no, that's just B-roll. That's just B-roll. Like,
that's
because
our B-roll.
That's
High key. Wait a minute.
I remember that random shot. Wait a minute. That
Why
was
is Lawrence in this?
They did that and everything else. And you're just like, because you know, like, you seen like what was captured. It was like, no, we're staying on this. We're staying on this. It's not just like an aerial shot of like LA skyline, and then we're in Atlanta.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is what it means to stand on. I want to shoot here. The city is its own character.
Yeah.
And you were very, very much like, this is it. And even when I meet people who are from LA, they're like, yo, it was great to see my neighborhood. And I was like,
yeah,
I
and
love
that was so important, because I didn't want the opposite of just like, no, you from here and you tried to pass this off as just like, that's some bullshit.
Yeah.
And that is only a specific LA level. I feel like for hometowns, it's just different when you're like representing a part of the city that you hold so dearly. Like, shooting anywhere else, I'm like, I want the authenticity for sure, but the passion to like really shoot a place isn't there. And that also makes things more expensive, to be honest.
It is. And that's, and you know, we both know our friend Diara.
Yeah. Yes, of course, in Detroit. Yeah.
Wants so bad to be in Detroit, but it's like, where the unions? You know, it's like, how can we make this happen? But to your point, I was like, that would make so much sense, because Detroit is a character.
Yeah. You know, speaking of standing on business, this is not about LA, but one of the things I definitely remember early on about you, the way you talk about her, was, you know, obviously there's a lot of sex stuff in the show, and you were like, I don't want to do that. And I think other actresses might have been like, I'll just suck it up, even though I know I don't want to. And you stood on that. And I was like, I just took, even somebody who's worked in the business a long time, it was just, you guys were really, to me, fresh reminders of like, oh, that's right, you don't have to play the game if you don't want to in a certain way. But when you're in it, you kind of care, you're just thinking about being in it. And so you guys' fresh perspective of being new to this and being like, we're going to kind of set rules differently, to me was really inspirational. And so I remember when we had that conversation and you stood on that, it was like, well, that's what we're doing. And so it was just really like refreshing. And so I just want to give you your flowers in that way
Can I
too.
tell you a story about that?
Yeah.
So it was the night before we shot episode 6. And I remember we had a conversation, and then I remember my friend Harry being like, so you about to bust it wide open for a real one, huh? I was like, what do you mean? And it was just like,
that's a crazy phrase.
He was like, and because I think there was like a body double thing, and I was just like, and I went to sleep, and again, I cried because I was like, oh, I'm gonna get recast. I knew it. I went to sleep and I was like, oh, this is HBO. They're gonna like redo all my scenes and this is it. And I was prepared to just come back and be like, well, I got checks for 8 episodes. There's another bot. Like I fully prepared because like I had a manager at the time, and even though I knew the contract I signed, he was just like, well, we knew that this would come and it's HBO. Like that's what my manager said. I was like, he's no longer my manager. And I remember just being like, wow, this is crazy. And then I went to sleep and I just was like, I'm out of a job. I know it. And I think someone from HBO called and was like, let's have a conversation. So they had a conversation. They were like, you know what? We're going to have a chat. And I'd like put together this like compilation video of like literally, it was like this before.
I think I remember hearing about that.
Yes.
You had done that. Yeah.
It was before like the whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, let me find every movie that's R-rated that has blacks in it. And I was like, I'm okay with side boob. I'm okay with like lighting.
Like for examples of like
it was
sex scene, tasteful sex scene.
Because I was like, it's not that I'm not able to do a sex scene. I just like don't want no areola show because no one in the village knows what a body double is. You're just naked. Just naked yourself. No. This is not that we raised. Like and then we did, I think Debbie Allen directed episode 6. She was, and I remember, I don't know if I can tell this part of something, but she was just like, baby, I get it. Because I was on a set with some actor and he thought he was going to be effing me in real life. I was like, what kind of...
I love Debbie Allen.
She was like,
she was so
I got
raw.
You.
Too raw.
She was like, so I got you. We'll figure this out. You gotta know. Are you okay? He hit you from the behind. I said, oh.
That is so good.
Yes. And I was like, well, yeah. She was like, okay. So
6 was your first sex scene?
6 was my first sex scene, so I was like,
that's right,
building up
because you and Langston
yes,
are in the bed
yes.
together.
You gonna eat that cereal? You gonna eat that cereal? And so
that's right, against the wall.
Yes. You still got her.
But she's a good director to have your first season.
Was
sex scene
fantastic.
with
She was
her.
like, so if we get you a big skirt and the cascades, he can... And I was like, yeah. And she was a dancer. She was like, it's just choreography. I said, okay, Debbie. So anyway, and then here is where I will give you your props because we did it and it went well. And I remember, I think we were talking about just how the season went. And I think somebody mentioned like, all right, well, you gotta get comfortable, doing more sex scenes. And I remember Prentice says, she was fine. Oh, she was great. She did everything great. Like, it's fine. Like what she did was enough. And I was like, I felt so seen. I've never told you that.
No.
I felt so seen because it felt like a fight. I really was like, they have enough money to recast and reshoot.
That's insane.
I'm going to be out of here. But yeah, like you affirmed me in that moment and you didn't have to. And so I never forgot that.
No.
We love that. We are family.
Like a giant tree.
Are you off?
Yeah. We have the fundraiser. One of my other favorite parts about this episode is Lawrence, aka Jay Ellis, finally gets a makeover because he gets a new job. He has to go on a job interview for Meridian. He gets this new job. He comes in looking like a king, and it's suited up and booted up at the fundraiser. And Issa and Lawrence's relationship seems to be in a really good place, even though. You watching this trigger me. Where when Lawrence gets this job, he's toying with the idea of like this really inspired me to not take this job. maybe I should continue to do my own thing. But watching Issa's reaction to that was my reaction.
Your reaction was like, great. We're like, huh?
No, what are we doing?
She stopped whatever she was doing.
She stopped the invitations. That shit was hilarious.
You're talking about not taking a job, nigga? Like, do you know what we went through? And
she's why I fucked this nigga 2 episodes ago.
Yeah. I'm not even thinking about this thing anymore. I'm
like, Daniel,
honestly,
this nigga's talking crazy.
So yeah, but he has that opportunity. He shows up to the fundraiser, and things are in a great place. And then, of course, Daniel shows up and amidst like the passive aggressive showdown between Issa and Molly and friends, and that was such a fun moment. Elon felt like he was on an island that whole episode. Like he
A beautiful black island.
A beautiful black island.
Just all looking like Dark Vader. Okay.
Dark Vader.
Dark Vader.
But it was so interesting because his character never really had scenes with the rest of the other cast too. So it was also like a beautiful tension of him as an actor, like hanging out with us for the first time and meeting like all of us together for the first time. Not meeting all together, but hanging out with us for the first time. And then like the character's isolation from the rest of it. Cause
but why did you never just text him back? Like, why didn't you just respond?
Issa's avoidant.
Oh,
you know, she's always avoiding it. She's like, it's gonna go away every single time. Every single time the problem will go away. But
you can't fuck a nigga to sleep and think he died. I think he just gonna go away.
It's like the best I ever had.
That nigga's out there like, yo.
He showed up to the fundraiser.
Yes.
Like,
my favorite thing though was him or you confronting him, and that was like a showdown because Molly does not like Daniel. We've talked about this.
Yeah.
Someone asked like, why
He's
doesn't
your Achilles dick?
Yes, and she's probably seen the way that, like, when Daniel was playing around, when Issa was ready for him to get serious, Molly was probably a witness to that and still does not like him. So that standoff where he knows you don't like him, you know you don't like him, and he's like, good to see you, Molly, or whatever he says to go away.
And I was so mad that he got the last word, like, as Yvonne and as Molly, like, no, I gotta see you. No, it's good to see us. Like,
but that's what's funny about that moment where it's all this coded language of that.
She was like,
which is an interesting thing that like later in season 5 we do the all that sort of showdown again with the guys at the going away party, which is like we kind of have these fun little showdowns. We have them in season 2. I would love to see the clip of, because obviously Molly goes to interfere, but then you have to come in and kind of deliver the
by the window.
By the window.
Yeah.
I know stuff at the studio. It happened kind of fast, but why you acting like it wasn't something?
Okay, yeah, it happened, but I was confused, and you've been texting me and pressing me all hard.
Really?
Daniel, you knew I had a.
Are you trying to blame me for what you did? You're not a victim, Issa.
You're being real loud right now.
I ain't even come here for all this, Issa. All right, I just wanted to look you in the eye and ask you why you would treat me like I'm some random ass nigga.
You were just an itch I needed to scratch.
When you were watching that scene or even reading the script, obviously we did table reads. Well, how did you feel? Did you side with Daniel?
Hell yeah.
That's bold. You a bold bitch for that.
No, I ain't gonna. Yvonne, hell yeah. Because my thing is, what most women want a real nigga that's gonna show up and be like, yo, look at my face. Like, what's good? Like, what are we doing? I was like, where is he in 2026? like he said, I'm gonna come to your job. I was there for the kids. You really gonna act like you're not gonna text me back in 3 weeks, bro? All right.
Yeah, it was really cruel and really bold for her to do, especially when her man was there, because she must have known that Daniel wasn't gonna be like, hey, I fucked your bitch. Like, to do that, and like if I were in that situation, I would try to like not antagonize anyone. In real life, I'd never be in that situation. Let's be clear. But if that happened to happen to me, then I would have to I would be begging, like, nigga, please leave.
Please stop.
Can you just leave? Just please. I'll talk to you later. Just leave. Go.
I'll talk to you later.
Please.
I'll give you 50 cents.
Yeah. That is hilarious.
I would be.
I do agree with Daniel though. It's like you haven't seen this man in 3 weeks and he showed up looking like that, and that's the first thing you say. I said, I know that's right. You didn't say like I look good, like, oh, you look nice, thank you for coming.
What was it like? As we said, like this was our first time kind of all filming together. What was it like? Oh, we had this iconic picture that was taken, and I remember feeling like, oh, okay, this is our only group picture, and this will be
really
a moment.
I think we were so excited because it was also like a contained episode for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And
so it was.
And so it was just like the gang is here. It's like this is the show. And I think we're at episode 7 by now. So it was just like, oh, everyone's been doing their own scenes. And so it felt like this is the family.
Yeah.
It felt like a cookout, but we also have lines to remember and a show to make.
Yeah. My mom also made a cameo in this episode. I was very excited to see her and popping up. She was like, why am I not in the show? And I was gonna make her a background actor. And I think Melina was like, give your mama some lines. And so we got some.
She was great.
She was fantastic.
She was ready. You had your mom, your brother.
Yes. Yeah, it was a family affair.
And it's like forever in time, cemented.
She claims she gets recognized. She was like, yeah, people recognize me. I'm like, oh yeah, they say, were you donor number one.
But it was great watching you pretend like you know who your mom was. Like, hi, what's your name? Oh my God, so great to meet you. I was like, that's
She
my
also
mom.
acted like she didn't know me. And that was great. It was great. But it was great to like even sit between takes with her and have her like take everything in. But it really was a family
Especially being
affair.
from the neighborhood and like now you're making a show.
Yeah,
here
literally
in
have to come down the
neighborhood.
street.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite pictures from the premiere party was my mom, your mom, and Jay's mom.
Oh, yes. I still have that.
We also have the fun of the We Got Y'all cast in it. We kind of get to see them.
Yeah,
come
right.
Like
Two
Kitty,
worlds.
yeah, Kitty super drunk on stage. It was like trying to find like what is their each of their little things and like even seeing like
Ken.
Frida being stressed about like the kids don't steal the batteries. It was just
What
like
was
all
the
these little-
batteries joke? I watched it again. I was like, were there dildos in there? What was the batteries joke?
No, it was literally just nobody has people who have extra batteries are rich.
Oh,
literally,
okay. I was like, I
just like a battery drawer. You got a drawer
yeah,
full
a
of
battery
batteries.
drawer. We used
Man,
to
you gotta
always
change your
be-
alarms, bro. You got.
We were the beeping alarm house for sure. Got a
Completely
drawer full
understand.
of batteries now though.
Yeah, that's how you know you rich.
Hey,
Almonds
flex.
and batteries.
Ain't even
Bump
gotta,
gas.
ain't even gotta show your titties.
Just I order it myself. Yes.
So after all the confrontation stuff happens, we get this incredible moment
Oof.
of Daniel and Lawrence meeting for the first time, waiting by the valet, who stars, speaking of incredible cameo, the valet driver is none other than Dominican Prentice.
Ya tú sabes.
Yeah. Why are we making
Can I say
Dominican?
something? Oh, I made that choice. I was supposed, and I guess I can, to the end, I should have just been me, but I was like, everybody got cool stuff, and I'm this, and then I was like, but I'm the only black dude with all these Latino ballet people, so I was like, I feel like, well, I gotta. Why? My question was, why do I work here? And I said, oh, what if I'm just Dominican? And it was a choice. And I remember Tony, our boom operator, was like, started just cracking up. And he was like, yo, did you just speak in Spanish? And I said, I sure did.
It was at the end when like it was. You could see him blurry, and he's just there counting the blue tickets. So focused.
I was staying focused.
He
I was
was
like,
in it.
I was in
Not
it.
even-
I was Dominican.
You didn't give no notes to Daniel and Lawrence. You were like, this is my part.
This is my
I'm in
moment.
it.
Well, we
It's
talked
going
about that scene a lot in the room.
Of, like, the language
Yes, of the
around
language,
it.
because it was like, well, Dan, because we said, well, he doesn't know who he is, and he's never seen Daniel. He has to infer certain things from the text, from the interaction. And so it was a lot of math of like, well, what's too much dialogue? Would he confront him here? And so I remember we wrote a few versions of that. And it was like, he's just trying to gauge like a temperature check, really, at the end of the day. But I remember that scene, even though it's just 2 lines, it's just like 3 lines. But I remember really agonizing about what
I
are they
remember
going to
us
say to
all
each other.
clapping when we came to like, oh, I don't have a reason anymore.
Yeah.
So, okay, one of the biggest scenes of the episode is the Issa and Molly fight, which you alluded to, and kind of the beginning, I think of, and we know of like this slow unraveling of their friendship. Because I don't think to season 4,
This is
like
the precursor.
this was the precursor,
Yeah.
and we talked about that, and we talked about even after this fight and writing it, like they had to be in a good place. Like we didn't want to watch a show about 2 women who didn't get along, but this was something they needed to explode to get to a good place.
Girl, you all right?
I'd be better if they stopped pouring these weak ass drinks.
Okay, what the fuck is up?
Nothing. Just over this day.
It was not nothing, because you were rude as hell to Justin back there, and I have to work with him. Why you tripping?
Oh, so I'm tripping? You over here acting like I'm raggedy and shit, telling me I need therapy when your mess is all over the place.
So that's why you've been pissy all night. Because I vaguely suggested therapy might be good for you? Clearly I was onto something.
Oh, for real? Like your shit ain't all fucked up? Like I wasn't just distracting your man right after school and your side nigga?
What? Why are you throwing that shit in my face?
I mean, you talked about how you felt shooting it, but what do you?
I feel like these are the moments I think in the beginning where I was like, I don't have friendships like this because
I remember you saying that a lot.
Because I was just like, if you cuss me out, we are done.
Yeah, ain't no coming back from that.
Like I don't what an apology. Is everyone all right?
Yeah.
Like it's just and so I was interested for me as an actor playing the character to be like, so how does this work? Like how does this get mended? Because again, this is why I am in therapy. It's like we got to use our words, and also you got to be kind to me because like you're going for the jugular.
Both.
Why are we friends?
Yeah, both of them are. I think that's an interesting point. Like, because I don't have friendships like that either. What that felt like was siblings. Like the only people I've gone to the jugular for in my life are siblings. They can get it, and they have gone back to me. There are things that they have said to me that still haunt me. If I'm looking at something in the mirror, I might look at a scar and I'll remember something my brother said about it. I used to have a gap in my teeth, and my brother would sing "Fall Into Joyce's Gap." Like that was his shit. And like, but those kind of things, like they stick with you. And I feel like they really just had kind of like a sisterly
for sure
relationship, and that they could come back when, and at least that's how I justified it in my mind. Is like, we're gonna be in each other's lives forever. We were a chosen family, and so that vitriol, it can come out, and the worst things can come out until we mend ourselves to be.
And I think that makes sense. I think that for me, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little nervous because I was just like, well, what are we?
Oh yeah, how's this gonna play?
Yeah, I think for me, I was so nervous and so scared to do this scene because in my mind, I felt like, oh no, are we done? Kind of like, like in real life, if you're almost like, if I do this too well, like, are we okay? Like that people pleasing, like, what does this mean? Like, it didn't feel like, oh, these are just words and this is a character and this is a scene. It felt like it's a fracture. And I feel like I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you because I was just like, meanwhile, you're like, great job.
Yeah.
Great.
It was great. The performances were,
wow.
To the nigga rundown.
That was actually, that hurt me.
So as you mentioned, right after the big fight.
Yes.
Molly, which is my favorite scene, goes and shows up on Jared's.
So it's funny how your favorite scene is like when Molly's taking the piss.
That's the scenes that affect me the most.
What are you doing here?
Look, I know you're over me. Hell, I'm over me too. But I realized I was going about us the wrong way. I just had all these unrealistic expectations about relationships. And, when it came to us, I should have just lowered my standards.
What?
Watching Molly stumble over her words to try to get this man back and repeatedly insult him and watching Jared process this.
In real time. What's funny is as I was rewatching it, I was like, he actually had the door open. Like, if you say the right thing,
you might could get in.
We might be getting these groceries again. Yeah. And he was just, at the third time, he was like, yeah, I'm tired.
You insulted him like 3 times.
3 times, bro.
And I was like,
kept going.
It's like, not that you're at a lower level. But you are.
I should just lower my standards. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
It was cringe.
I was very glad for him to stand up for himself at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So you see how you took sides with Daniel? How does it feel for me taking sides with Jared like that?
This is why we was fighting in the back of the trucks. I was like, Chef Bebetta's just trying to load stuff up. Like,
let's do the nigga rundown. So obviously, as we're getting to that fight, Issa's just kind of gotten like a nice little shout out from her boss, nice little bottle of champagne, and just like you think everything's gonna end up happy and rosy, I think I'm gonna need some.
Okay,
talking about this scene. Issa comes home happy as a clam to a nigga sitting in the dark.
Hold on. Let me get method right.
And she comes home so happy, and then the first question is, "Who's Daniel?" That was a scene. You want to talk about it first?
Sure. I remember before shooting that scene, Jay's a great guy. He's always fun. He's always extroverted. He's always having a conversation. This was like the day played out like the episode did, where we were in a really good place, like joking and stuff. And then progressively over the day, we were like, I found himself separating from me and isolating himself from me. We weren't like talking. And I remember feeling the emotions because we knew we had to shoot this scene at the end of the day because we shot all our scenes in one day. And I was just getting emotional and like actually feeling hurt by him. I think, and that's the difference between our scenes, because like we were always kikiing, no matter what, in between. And so I was like, this isn't real. I know this isn't real. But for him, like by the time I walked in that door, the emotions were already bubbling up because I was just like,
where you been at? He was on the set dark.
Yeah, he really was. He was not talking to me.
At lunch.
He wasn't laughing at nothing. Yeah, he didn't come see me. He was like closed off. So I was like, this nigga's really mad at me. Like, and I really wronged him. And I was already in my feelings of guilt around that.
What people don't know is on the show a lot, we would take scenes and kind of write an episode together, and we were assigning scenes, and I was just like, I'll take this one. And in college, I had a situation where I was cheated on and kind of found out in a roundabout way. And like that scene was almost verbatim what happened and almost verbatim what we ended up shooting, except I had a lot of exclamation marks on my draft of the scene. And so when Issa was like, we gotta take some of these all caps and exclamation marks.
That was literally my only criticism. I was like, why is this in all caps like that? Because it was a raw emotional scene and like it was coming from a real place for him. And even I didn't know. I was like, remember like flip a chair over and
broke the table, flipped the chair,
all that shit. But I mean, Jay played it so brilliantly, and you like, you felt the emotions, you felt his hurt and the betrayal of it. So that was like,
because it was a heavy down. I remember the whole energy around the rehearsal, the set, everything was real heavy that day. Especially going to that scene, and it was like, how much are we not really wanting to rehearse it, just kind of get the blocking sense of that. And I remember, I think Jonathan Berry, one of our EPs, was there as well, and I remember him watching it, and I was watching it. And it was so, also the first time you're seeing Jay this way. So and when he flips the table, you are like, oh shit, we are definitely going up against a line for sure. But that made it, to me, so much more interesting, right? Because he also has to show this restraint, but he's also obviously hugely hurt. And I remember when you went down on the door, and I remember watching that, and I was just like, my heart broke for actually y'all as the thing. And I remember being like, damn, I remember really thinking like, I was like, damn, she really good.
Shout out to Kevin Ray who directed it too.
Yeah.
So because you hadn't seen Knock Up Black Girl, that was the first time that you were like, wow, she's a really good actress.
Shut up.
I just wanted to make sure that that's what
people
you were
really came for me for that. I was like, God.
He was like, it only took 7 episodes for me to be like, wow, I'm so glad I'm doing the show.
No, I told her there were always things along the way that I was like, oh. And I was like, oh shit, yeah.
She slid down that door like a 90s R&B thinking like, so John B, the spirit of John, Tony Rich project. Oh, he's really good. Nobody knows him, but
I cannot.
No, when I was rewatching this, when he asked who's Daniel, you go, huh? I was like, if you go, huh, you can hear.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to say. If you go, huh, you can hear.
My favorite thing was women. Issa, obviously, she cheated, right? Yeah. And women came to her defense so quickly in this scene, and that was like, lie, girl! Like, girl, stand up!
The itch, you scratched it. He will never know. How you gonna know?
So mad at her being a terrible liar.
And also, it convert, and I think this is when the highs definitely felt they were on 10. Because you also watched, I remember to the inverse of that with the guys was like, exactly, nigga. See, nigga, I knew. But I do remember that sort of being kind of the beginning of a lot of like gender relationship conversations and wars and like this side, we see women like this. And I'm not saying that, you know what I mean? But it definitely, I felt like a lot of the things we perceive about relationships and what actually is true about relationships kind of took over the conversation every Sunday. Yeah. I think that's what became fun of just like, not just people were watching, but they're engaged in where we're hitting and talking about real life. And that always felt like, we're doing something else here.
And we never gave the answer, which is what I loved about the show. It was always a toss-up. Even the head episode. Yeah. Everyone was like, well, what was he supposed to do? And I was like,
I mean, that was the time.
A lot of things.
So at the end of each episode, we do sort of a segment called Then and Now. Okay. Like what we thought back then versus how we see it now. So we'll throw you a couple of things and you can answer them. Okay. Yvonne, what do you think we got right with this episode?
Definitely right. Somebody who is not willing to do the work, what that looks like. I completely agree that Molly needed some work and she did not know. So you guys got that right. When somebody's in denial with their own inability to see themselves.
And looking back, since it's fresh, what do you feel like we missed or might not like hold today? Like what might not be relevant today?
The therapy conversation, like I said, we were talking about earlier, like if you're not in therapy now, like no one's ever with you. I'm not even dating you if you're not in therapy. So sorry, don't date me. Like you got to have done your work. And so I think that like clowning her for that's not
if we were in a writer's room today, what do we think would be the source of tension?
I think the source of tension could still be somebody telling you need it in a space. I don't think they would have clowned her for being in therapy. Okay. I think it would have been more of a personal thing, like you need it, I don't. Or like you need it, like you need something. Yeah. And she might have just heard that as opposed to like, I think the framing of that would have been different. Maybe she's not so hot about that, but I definitely think the judging of you should be in something
for sure,
anything less than clowning Crystal.
I've always been told like people hear from where they're at, And like Molly was not at a place to hear anything good coming from you.
No. You know what I am going to come at you for?
Well, I mean, I'm here now.
You did the Breakfast Club. I remember waking up minding my Black business in a great mood, and I turn on my phone and all I see is notifications say cheater, cheating ass bitch, cheater. And I was like, what the fuck? Why are people coming for me like this? This is crazy. On my personal page and like writing these messages because you went on Breakfast Club and at the end you were like, yeah, ain't he said cheater, she a cheater. Hit her up and tell her she a cheater. I was.
That is diabolical.
And it lasted for like a week of just notifications blowing up like, oh, is this my mom? No, cheating ass bitch.
I don't remember. Thank you for that. I don't recall.
No, don't worry. We'll pull it up. Yeah, we'll pull it up. I'll find the interview. I'm there.
Well, you know what? I think it was so new to all of us, press and how it works.
I guess all that protection was over.
Yeah. She was like, Charlamagne, what's up? Put that me.
I'm sure Charlamagne was like firing shots at me, and I was like, let me deflect. See, again, I hadn't done therapy as Molly or Yvonne, so I was like, he's a cheater, though.
Yes, it really was that. I feel like it was a deflection.
It was like, my back was against the wall. I was like, but she cheated. Like, I was a family snitch. Like, I had no friends, so my only thing was just to be the family snitch. So here we are.
Well,
in exchange.
Change. Well, we love you and thank you guys so much for joining us.
Cheers. Yo, things get really real this episode. Like the drama with Issa and Molly, Issa and Lawrence, Issa and everybody. Like I get tired just thinking about it.
You and me both. I mean, you know what we need right now.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
You already know it. Gatorade low in sugar, my dog.
Sugar. That's right. What I love about Gatorade lower in sugar is that it hydrates better than water. There's no artificial flavors or colors, and it just really tastes good.
Probably because Gatorade lower sugar has 75% less sugar and all the electrolytes of regular Gatorade.
Well, that's why we love Gatorade lower sugar over here. With that, should we go back to the episode?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Before we wrap, we have to get into y'all's questions. It is the highlight of our day, presented by Gatorade Lower Sugar.
And we love how nosy, invested, messy, and petty y'all are. So let's hear what y'all have to say this week.
Okay, so our first question comes from @LoveMyBrownSkin. I know that's right, on IG. Was your friendship with Molly in season 1 actually ride or die, or were you just using her as a mirror to feel better about your own mess? Speaking of mess, messy ass question. Damn! I think Molly and Issa's friendship was a sisterhood. We kind of touched on that. And in that way, like at the time, I think at least in season 1, there's no one thinks that they're going to break up. Some people cut off family. It's a different day. But like even when you fight with your sibling, you're going to be siblings at the end of the day. And their relationship was such that they went really low, but I don't think they were using each other. I think that they saw things in each other that needed to be improved and maybe were vocal about that, but I'm curious your thoughts.
Yeah, I think they maybe hadn't had the emotional language to say those things in love because they're both mad in the moment. Obviously, Molly's mad, and there's a lot of tension in this episode. So I think there's a lot of like just frustration, and so I think it just came out the wrong way. But I don't think they were intending to do that with each other.
Yeah, and I also think it's that thing where sometimes even with friends, you'll joke about each other's vulnerabilities in the moment, and sometimes like there are times where you might not be feeling it and a friend might take a joke too far or might throw something back in your face that you said where it's like, I'm not feeling that right now and I'm not ready to hear that. And it's actually a deeper wound. And mature relationships, to your point, you can vocalize like, hey, I wasn't really feeling that. Right. And if you're on a kind of a grown level with your friendship, you can receive that feedback and be like, my bad.
Yeah.
But they, I think, had a lot of maturing to do.
Yeah, and I also think that to that end, that Molly is harboring some stuff about Jared. And I think there is this level of, I'm trying to find a good one. She kind of has a good one. Yeah. So there's this kind of internal thing she is actually wrestling with about herself that I think is just like she's projecting some things too as well.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the next question is from @lifecoach_Jarrell on Instagram. The question is, did Lawrence want to knock Daniel's ass out at the We Got Y'all fundraiser when he asked him what his connection was to We Got Y'all before he got that busted ass 1937 Ford Explorer. Wow. Hey, man, did this happen to you, brother? This is, man. Also interesting that he's a life coach. We always talked about this on the show, right? It was like, how much does he know? What is he privy to? He's never seen Daniel. So, I mean, I think he's more so kind of putting pieces together. And I think once he kind of has that information, I think it's like, okay, that's who that is.
Yeah, Lawrence was on he was on his detective shit in the best way. And I think he played it perfectly. He found out the right information. I don't know that he wanted to beat his ass. Yeah, I feel like also, you speak to this, but women, I think when they find out their man is cheating, sometimes they will take it out on the women. And I've always hated that. Men are really good about like, no, bitch, it's you.
Yeah,
I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah.
So yeah, unless they catch the man in the act.
I think unless you catch the guy in the act, that's one thing. I think and also like, you also don't want to be taking a swing at somebody that you're not sure is the guy, right?
Oh,
like, because he doesn't fully know, like the audience knows, obviously. And obviously, because if he knew, he would have fronted on Issa as soon as she got home. He's still trying to source, is this accurate of what I believe?
Right.
But I also think guys, just the ego part doesn't want to be like, I let this nigga get to me. It's like, it's them hoes, nigga. It's them hoes. You know what I mean? So I think that's why he's definitely not going to be on that. Also, I don't know if it's a 1937 Ford Explorer. I don't think they were making Ford Explorer 37, but that's hilarious. I love how Life Coach sees it.
Life Coach is ready to fight, and I love that.
As always, thank you guys for sending in your questions, and please, please, please keep them coming.
Yes, and to find exclusive Block Party content, make sure to follow @HOORAE Media on our Instagram page for more.
Thank you guys for tuning into Block Party.
Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on all platforms @HOORAE Media, and listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. Otherwise, we'll see y'all at the Block Party next week.